What's up, guys, and welcome to BitCast episode ABC. It's easy as 123 for the month of August 2024. I'm your host, Jake Martin.
My goodness.
And as always, I'm joined by my good friend, Landry Smith.
What's up, Jake, man? So good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, too. We're in September now. It's been a month. It's nice and cozy. And yeah, we're doing 123. 123. How fun is that?
That's fun. That's awesome. Congratulations on creating a podcast that has lasted for over 100 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, it's taken many different shapes and forms. And if you've been listening at all since the start of January this year, Landry and I have been continually optimizing this podcast to make it. I
got to say, man, I'm more excited. I think today for our podcast, and we've even reworked some stuff for this episode. And I'm excited about the new format. I think it's gonna be good. Me too.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like we're trying to cut out stuff that we feel like is not fun for us to run through. Like we were doing a lot of news reading, and we were trying to cut the list down every single month. Like, okay, let's pick less topics. And then Landry and I just, I guess, can talk about anything for a long time. So now what we're doing is we have just a singular topic of the month, like something that's been top of mind for both of us or one of us, and we'll just pick whichever one we feel like makes sense. So we did that, and then everything else is kind of the same. But yeah, we're keeping Game & Watch, but like that's condensed as well. Game of the Month Club is still here to stay because that's always fun. That's the best part of this is just getting to play a singular game and talk about it. And then everyone's favorite segment, Name That Game Music. You know, it's so good.
We got the people talking.
We got them talking. Actually, I haven't posted some shorts in a while, so forgive me. You'll probably see like a barrage of shorts coming out soon.
You and I both like exited social media, so we're just.
It has
this
been
is
a month.
This is the way we talk on the internet now.
I love this. This is more personal, intentional. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I didn't announce this on Twitter, but I'm not. I decided I was done. I'm done with Twitter. I was getting on there and I was just in this doom cycle of just reading through stuff and crap that like had nothing to do with me. Like it was like all news that like maybe I cared about, and like I do miss like some of the fun hype around announcements, but I can still get all of that just by like reading a website or like seeing like small like snippets here and there on the internet. And then you guys all share things with me too, so it's
same.
Great.
And it's funny because we kind of came to this decision separately and without talking about it at all with each other. But I had exited Twitter without telling anybody about it like 2 weeks previous to your decision. And it's just been, and it was the same reason, man. I was like, most of the times I'd get on there and scroll through a bunch of stuff that I like didn't want to see. And then the stuff that I did see that was like on topic with video games. Most of it was like politics, which I did not get on Twitter for politics, but I could not escape it.
We're in that cycle right now, that season.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, like the video game stuff would just annoy me because I would hear like these takes from people where I would find myself like more than ever feeling the pull to like respond back to them, not because of something they said to me, but just because I was like, man, that is just an egregiously dumb take. And that was when I was like, you know what, man, this is not a place that I should be in. It's not a good, wise way to spend my time.
Exactly. Same thing. Not a good use of my time. And to your comment about like, you see all that crap and it makes you want to respond. And then once you realize that all of those accounts are getting monetized, like they're getting money. They're basically getting monetized posts for posting just garbage takes that they know they're going to get engagement on because they're so bad. And it's just like, this is not a good conversation anymore. Like we're not having conversations that are meaningful or interesting or like I'm getting any insight from this. I'm just reading dumb things back to back to back to back that just incense me. And I'm just like, all right, I'm out. This is dumb. Like, I don't know why I'm here anymore. And so
exactly.
It's good. I'm healthier. I really don't miss it. Like I feel like I'm in a great place. And I'm just like, yeah, that should have happened.
We also have the we're really fortunate to be on a couple of text threads with some friends that we've made through doing this kind of stuff. And I enjoy those more, and they're always more thoughtful. It's like, that's more fun for me.
That's our encouragement to you guys. If you have some close friends that like video games, just start a group chat with them somewhere, and it's way more healthy and fun, and you'll enjoy it way more than Twitter. So get off X or Twitter and start a group chat with your friends. Brought to you by I don't even know like what a group chat, WhatsApp or group me. There you go. All right. Well, if you guys are tuning in, we are discussing the topic of the month, Game & Watch, Game of the Month Club, and Name That Game music. And then a little bit of housekeeping for y'all. If you are fans, write into us at just Jake at BitCast.com. Sorry, Jake at BitBloggist.com. Or you can write into BitCast at BitBloggist.com. I receive both of those. Works either way. And then leave reviews. Those are always appreciated. It's always fun. We read them off on the show. And if you are playing along with any of us on the Game of the Month Club, we'd love to hear your thoughts. We have some comments from Joe on Portal 2, which we'll be talking about
sweet
later. So let's jump into the topic of the month. All right. So, Landry, you tasked us with trying to find like one gaming topic or trend that's been top of mind. And I wrote this literally the day after we finished recording like a month ago. And I was like, the gaming landscape is changing. The gaming industry just feels things are really starting to like shift. And I'm seeing this undercurrent of just stuff. And so I've listed off some things that have just happened this month, as well as just kind of this year that sort of back up my thought here. And I want to hear what you have to say about this. So
sure.
This year, big one for us, Game Informer has been shut down after 33 years.
Dude, that one was so brutal to hear from me. And I haven't subscribed to Game Informer in a long time, but I love print magazines. I still collect old Nintendo powers. I love having them around. Even though they're like $20 a pop now, and plus that, like, if you get a good issue that's like highly sought after, it's just so fun to flip through a print magazine, man. And it was just I'm always reminded of those moments as a kid where it's like I knew a new magazine was going to come in. Like I had it pinned down to the week, and I'd just run out of the mailbox and try and find like the new episode of Electronic Gaming Monthly or Nintendo Power, whatever I was subscribed to that year. I never had more than 2 running at once, but dude, so sad to see that last gaming magazine fall to the fold. And I know there are some like Patreon exclusive stuff, like Nintendo Force does a really good job. I've gotten a couple of them. I don't know if they're still running, but like a couple years ago, I got a couple of their issues.
Yeah.
It's just not the same to have like that big market mass coverage, that Game Informer was still able to do with a smaller team, and it's sad to see him go.
Yeah, I'm very sad, and it was real for me when some part of my routine for making this outline is going to Game Informer's like upcoming monthly releases, and so I literally like went to that link for like knowing that they had already shut down, and I clicked on it thinking that the list would still be there, and it was just the dead website, and I was like, oh my gosh,
already, that's so brutal.
Like, this is so sad. I can't believe this. It's over. And yeah, same as you. Like I got those magazines all the time as a kid. I resubscribed when they tried to do that last Valiant push where they were like, it was $20 for like a year. And I was like, that's a great deal. So yeah,
you know what? I never did it. So that's okay. My fault,
I got the last edition, so that was kind of cool. I was like, I got the last magazine from Game Informer.
Keep that one, dude. Yeah, that's awesome.
Super sad, man. So that was just one thing. But then collectively, so more like this idea of consoles are no longer like pillars of like exclusivity, and like they're bringing in like their own content. Like PSVR 2 is now compatible with PC. PlayStation and Xbox games are also launching on PC, sometimes same day now. Crossplay is almost standard across almost any game that you play that's at least a big third-party game. Cloud options are available for streaming on most consoles now, so you don't have to even play on your TV if you don't want to. Mark Erickson just switched to a Steam Deck Switch setup.
Huge news.
Yeah, huge news. He went, he got rid of his Xbox, and he's like, yeah, I think I just like I'm content with the Steam Deck and being able to play most of these games because I know everything that's going to be on my Xbox is probably going to be on here as well, and he can still play Game Pass via cloud if he wants to on there. Subscription models are kind of in limbo, and they're kind of terrible, but sort of still running. And then this week, PlayStation's most recent live service game, Concord, got shut down nearly not even 2 weeks after launching. because it didn't hit the sales numbers that they needed. I think it had like 25,000 players, which is crazy.
That is crazy. That's so low for a AAA PlayStation experience.
For them to launch, though, like literally 2 weeks ago and say, never mind, we're pulling that off. Like, you cannot buy it. They're refunding everyone. And I think the idea is to go back as live service. But like, again, it's just these are all signs of a gaming industry now that is not functioning the way it should be. Like there. And so I guess I'm going to toss this to you to kind of give your initial take on what you think.
Well,
that's a lot to think about.
Dude, there was a whole lot there. And I hadn't thought about this previously, but as you were saying everything you were saying about PSVR 2 going to PC and PlayStation and Xbox kind of putting their experiences on multiple places, I'm starting to think about like this concept that was not unpopular even a decade ago or 20 years ago of the unsustainability of these consoles to all have their own medium, essentially. Like there's no, like if you have a DVD player, you can buy a DVD from any studio and put it in and it's going to play. And that seems to be where the industry is heading. And that makes a lot of sense. Like, right? That makes a lot of sense. I don't think, though, unfortunately, the experiences that you and I grew up on, and you and I probably, because of our age, because of our upbringing with video games, that single player narrative, not even narrative necessarily, but like, I'm going to go play a video game tonight. I don't necessarily need people online to play this. That experience may become rarer and rarer, especially in the AAA space. But I'm wondering if AAA games are not going to like reshape into something completely different in the next few years, because they don't seem to be sustainable the way they are. Like every game, like Final Fantasy Rebirth is a failure, even though it was the 4th best selling game of the year so far.
Yes.
Like that's absurd. That's absolutely absurd. It's sold. It's in the black. There's no question it's in the black. I know the development time is long on these things, but like the expectations for these games is just completely out of control. And
yes,
what's happening now is these companies are looking at past years where maybe COVID was a player in sales numbers, and their expectations are astronomical, and these games cannot hit those same numbers. And I mean, I don't know what's it seems like there's more gamers than ever. There
definitely are.
And yet these sales numbers are not hitting expectations, even though you see how many games are selling, like 20 million copies of a game or 10 million copies of Black Myth Wukong, this game that's like no one's ever heard of. And like, that's crazy numbers. Like you would never have heard of something like that happening 10 years ago. And yet the industry's falling apart around us just because the expectations are just ludicrous. So something has to happen. There's so much money in video games now. I think there just needs to be some kind of reassessment of
global reset.
Yeah, a global reset. Yeah. Was that a term from the article we read?
No,
that sounds familiar.
That's just like where my head goes. Like there just needs to be, okay, let me back up a little bit. To your point, like is the issue capitalism and the idea that like we always need to be growing more profit, more players? It needs to be the biggest thing. Like I think that's like one major issue that's sort of plagued the industry from since the beginning, I guess. Like they've always wanted the next biggest, the next best, bigger than last year, better than last year's. Sequels, it's like, okay, this one's got to be bigger and better than the last game we made. Right. And if you look at like some companies that like are massive that can do that, like Rockstar, they have the capacity and time and money to do that. Nintendo is another company that I think of, though, that goes against that kind of design philosophy and is like Majora's like Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask, you could argue it was a smaller game, but it was repurposed assets, and they got that game out, and it was received well. And maybe didn't sell as well as Ocarina of Time, but that was a great game. And I think that has continued all throughout. Like Nintendo's developing, like they like a good example now is Echoes of Wisdom coming out soon this month.
Right.
It's a Zelda game. It's a much smaller Zelda game. But it does a lot of things differently than Tears of the Kingdom, obviously. And so they can take this approach of like, here's our big tentpole franchise that is probably about the same size as Breath of the Wild, maybe a little bit bigger, but not that much. And then we're also doing this like on the side over here that is a smaller experience that didn't take as much out of us, where we're repurposing some assets and design from Link's Awakening and then just pulling in these new mechanics. And I think that's a winning strategy. So that's part two, like the size of the game, how you develop that stuff. But then like, do we go like, is the reason that some of this all feels so bad, is it because that nothing feels distinct anymore? I guess when I say that, what I'm saying is like, when we grew up, and I sound like an old man when I'm already saying things like, oh, when I grew up, but like, you really did have these pillars, like you had these segmented experiences that you got. And now because everything has been so combined and like there is this like demand for like being able to play everything anywhere, whatever you want, it just, I don't know, like things feel less special. They feel less enticing.
Yeah.
And
that's an interesting point.
And I want to bring this up. We read this piece from Chris Plant on Polygon, and it's called 2 Ways to Save a Video Game Industry on Fire. It is so good. It is it's just like it hits every like nail on the head. But there's this great part right here where he says, consider if you can muster the sympathy, the AAA video game publisher, where in the past a publisher's individual games would compete against a few dozen releases a year. They now compete against dozens a week, plus subscription services, perpetually updated free-to-play games, and the latest patch or expansion to the biggest hits of years past. These publishers grew large and comfortable from a retail distribution system that cost a great deal, but prohibited upstarts from setting up camp on shelves at GameStop and Walmart. With soaring profits, publishers opened studios across the world to build games that became more ambitious and expensive with each console cycle. So that idea of like, there's so many games coming out now that like even a huge AAA blockbuster like Concord can just get lost in the chaff now because there's 20 other games just like it that have already launched, and like 2 or 3 have probably already come out this year. And it's like, how do you stand out anymore? Like, how do you do anything that stands out?
Right. Well, also, this is something I've been thinking about a lot. And I think that it is a problem in the consumer space, not in the review space, but like we look every month, we look at the, top 6 or 7 most popular games or whatever. And it's always like a couple 80s, a bunch of 70s, maybe 160.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think if sites like IGN and GameSpot kind of shifted their review scales and were a little harsher on a lot of these games, we would maybe be able to, like, I think really smart consumers like myself and you and some of the people we talk to and hang out with are able to parse out like those few games that we want to play a year. But it seems like for the average consumer or gamer, there's just not, you're just inundated with this giant glut of content, and that's fatiguing. And it's also like, if you have enough of those 80s experiences that are just middle of the road, you're going to kind of like lose the passion for the hobby. That happens to me every once in a while, where it's like, man, I just haven't played a game that hits in a long time. Maybe I'll just put the controller down for a minute and jump on to something else. And that's not a bad thing at all. It's just these companies are vying for people's attention, and attention is equating to dollars, and there's just not enough good content. like, and when I say good content, I mean that content that elevates itself above the rest. Everything's just kind of middling.
Mhm.
And I think about like some of the Netflix shows that, I enjoy watching, but like after a while you just start to, it's kind of like X or Twitter. You stop and you think and you're like, man, could I be spending my time more wisely somewhere else rather than playing these experiences
Yes.
that I'm not going to think about more than the time I'm giving them while I'm playing it. And then I walk on later on into my life and I'm like, man, I'm never going to think about that again,
Right. And you're exactly right. And I think there's like two things that like stack on top of that. I think one, it's the overabundance of choice. The overabundance of content available to us now is just insane.
Yes.
And so like that's never existed before, where there's been so many indie studios, so many like large studios that have broken off into smaller studios to make big games again, that are pushing content, so that when we go to this like the eShop or the digital stores to try and find content, or try and find games now, like as a standard shopper, you're going on there and you're like, how do I even know if this is good? How do I even know if this is worth my time? And that's the bigger thing, is really the investment of time you're putting into something. And it's just like Netflix and Twitter. It's like, I'm at a stage now, maybe this is just me, how I feel, but I'm at a stage now where I do feel like I need to choose my time wisely. I don't have a lot of spare free time. And so when I'm making these choices now, I'm just like, I'm not going in on something that I don't feel like is going to be worth it to me.
Yeah.
And I think like that's a hard place for a developer to be, because we're falling out of their target demographic. I do believe that, like, we're probably zoning out of like their core audience
100%.
and that totally makes sense. But then the other part of that I think they're still going to have to combat, even for their core demographic, is our distractions. Like,
yeah,
we have so many things that we can fill our time with, so many distractions. Like, would I want to spend time on my phone doing something, reading an article? Would I want to spend time, watching Netflix or watching something else on Amazon? Or like, there's just so many things vying for our attention.
And then the reality is, there's never going to be a time in the history of the world where multiple things can be a part of the cultural zeitgeist. Like, there's not going to be 4 Elden Rings a year. That's not possible. You have these great works that consume so much attention, these Tears of the Kingdoms or whatever. And it's not necessarily that there aren't other games on the level of quality of those games, but like, there just are these moments, these gaming moments that like you need to play as a gamer, so to speak, if you want to kind of be a part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And those moments seem to be happening way less than in the past. And a lot of that, I think, there's so many different reasons for it, right? Like, AAA development has just ballooned in time and scale.
Yep.
In the past 5 years even. And also, I think COVID maybe put a halt to some of the stuff, some of the cadence of release for things like PlayStation Studios. Again, Nintendo has not seen a slowdown, I don't feel like, in their content output. And one of the things they've trained us as Nintendo consumers is to only expect 1 or 2 games a year from them that are going to hit as hard as they do. But with PlayStation, we used to get 2 or 3 games that were just awesome every year. And now it's 1 every 2 years. And that's made the PlayStation 5 seem just, to be honest, I was thinking the other day, like, I'm at a place now where like I don't regret my purchase of a PlayStation 5, but if I could go back and do it again, I just probably wouldn't spend the $500 on my PlayStation 5. There's not a game, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, like, I could just wait and play that, in a couple years whenever it's $300. There's not a game that was like, that has been groundbreaking for the PS5. It's all PS4 stuff.
Yeah.
And that's great, but
I think, to your point about just there not being like these killer games, I think I think it like also comes down to cost as well. Someone else was in the comments of that article, I think, making a great point. They were like, you can track the total game sales after they made the $70 price shift to try and like accommodate for some of the increasing costs of development and actual video game sales. And there's a definitive shift in terms of total unit sales after that price increase. Because what happened is people like you and I and a lot of other gamers are like, okay, $70 is now like even $60 is still like a pretty big purchase you have to consider, but like 70 just feels like even more substantial. And you're like, okay, if I'm going to buy a game, it really needs to be something that I feel like it's worth it. And then what it makes all of us do is just wait until it goes on sale.
Yeah.
And you know what games never go on sale? Nintendo games.
Well.
And if they do go on sale, it's for like $15 off, and that's it. Like Star Wars Outlaws is a great example. It's received well. It's like in the 80s, I think, or like
76
on
okay. OpenCritic.
I think that's because of like the issues at launch, but people love that game. They think it's great. But that game we know is going to be heavily discounted in like 2 months.
It's Ubisoft, right?
Yes.
So that's their business model. At this point, we already know it. Yeah, absolutely. It will be down to $30 or $40 within a month.
So then, okay, think about the consumer like that waits like us, where it's like, okay, I'm going to wait till that goes on sale. You do wait, and then you finally do see it go on sale. And by the time that it goes on sale for the price that you're willing to pay, now you're like, like I'm not that interested anymore.
Yeah, I'm out. Like
it has to be a crazy deal for me to buy that now. It has to be like Steam summer sale or like seasonal sales where like it's $2 for something where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to buy it because I mean, like that's $2. Like I think there's so many things that I don't even know how to diagnose it all, but like it just feels strange. So
dude, the other thing is like I was playing The Witcher for PS5, the PS5 update the other day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The load times are incredible compared to what they were on the PS4.
Yeah.
The graphics kind of feel the same, but everything's just smoother because the load times are less terrible. Like it's not as choppy as it used to be. Everything's running smooth. You've got like the haptic feedback. And I was thinking about that. And then my recent playthrough of Skyrim as well, which is a much older game, but Skyrim on the PS5 is like this, the load screens for Skyrim on PS3 were literally like almost a minute long. Jeez. And the load screens on Skyrim on PS5 are just like, I mean, you don't even have time to pick your phone up and do anything. And it's just like, man, these games are getting so much better 5 years after their release to play the premium version. Not only that, but I paid for The Witcher. I paid $7.99 for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, this was $60 all through the PS4's lifespan, but now I'm playing a better version of it for $8. And
this is a 100-hour game. You know?
Yeah, and it's still a good experience. So yeah, gaming is in a weird place right now, especially for my personality type, where I'm the type of guy who will go online and like look at the BBC's top 100 novels and start chipping away at those things that have been written like hundreds of years ago. Like I'm not the guy who goes to the bestseller list in 2024. Like, and for movies, like I will like go to the AFI top 100 list, like in video games too. Like I'm interested in video game history. So I don't mind picking up a $3 game that's 20 years old and I can still give that my time and have an incredible experience with it. So
yeah,
man, I don't know.
There's too much choice.
But yeah, but we're in such a privileged state in 2024 where I can access all of that content. I think it is for wise people like me, just the face of wisdom here.
I'm not opting for like governmental control and regulation of the gaming industry, but it almost like I'm leaning almost towards something like that, where like there needs to be a board or like some kind of governing institution that restricts and regulates the gaming industry back to like core operating models that like are sustainable, where people don't have to just get hired and laid off. And you know, you can release this many titles in a year and like just Just do that.
We need the old Nintendo restrictions on the NES where they're like, you can only publish 5 games a year. That's why Konami created Ultra, their like second publishing company, so that they could put out
seal
10.
of quality, man.
Yeah,
that's
what they've. That's and that was Nintendo combating the video game crash of the 80s. They came up with that pretty interesting business move to win back the trust of consumers. And I think now it's a completely different recession. I'm not going to call it a crash that we're in currently, where somebody needs to get an idea of how to take what is the biggest gaming audience of all time and appease them, have reasonable expectations, and also get video games back to where they can have a presentable budget. Like, hey, this video game is going to take us 5 years to make. We're going to have this amount of developers on it. This is our budget. We're not going to exceed that budget, because it does seem like we can get mad at capitalism and investors and everything. But the reality is, if technology has gotten to a point to where everything's exceeding its budget, it's not really capitalism's fault. There's something needs to course correct in the development space, because that kind of seems what's happening. Yes, it does seem like, okay, maybe you met your budget and you come out and your Final Fantasy Rebirth and you're the 4th best selling game of the year or whatever. But that doesn't seem like the whole story to me. That seems like there was probably like costs were way more astronomical than anticipated, and they ballooned in some place in some area, and it does seem industry wide. So that's got to fix itself. And I remember when PS5 and Xbox was coming out, and part of the messaging, I especially remember Phil Spencer saying this, and this is not a bad thing from Phil Spencer. I just think he's more of a personable person, but he was talking about how the Xbox would be geared, the new Xbox Series X or whatever it's called, would be geared towards developers so that they could make games easier and be on budget more often. And that has been the absolute antithesis of what's happened this generation. It's gone completely out of control. And the other reality is that people are making games, like you brought up earlier, for PC, PS5, PS4, sometimes a Switch port, Xbox,
every single console,
and
basically.
Every single thing has at least a little bit of a different development aspect to it. So that is another crazy part of it. And a lot of times these games like Black Myth Wukong, where they get a console exclusivity, you see a lot of those games reviewing really well. And I always assume it's because, PlayStation saw that game, saw something in it, and they put money into it. We're like, we're going to buy the exclusivity rights to this. But what if it's a little more of, hey, we only have to develop for this in PC. We don't have to split our attention 5 ways. And we can focus on making a game that is awesome rather than scrambling to make a game that works, in 5 different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I love the idea of games being available on different platforms. Like, I can play games with my friends that have Xboxes, but I do think by branching out to other platforms, you're essentially you're cutting away some of the stuff that would make your console unique. And I think that's another thing too, is the PS5 games that are like developed from the ground up for the PS5, like Astrobot, like those stand out because they were made for the PS5. And you're like, wow, this game is cool because it uses all these features that now exist in the PS5. And that's like kind of how it was. For most Nintendo games, that's how it's always been. Nintendo likes to incorporate like 2 or 3 pieces of specific technology that only work on like their games. So it's like, hey, haptic triggers. Here's the N64 controller with all these weird controls, and we're going to use our mini games that like do all different things with this stuff. Like the I forget the name of the GameCube triggers, but they have a name for that style of technology. But those were used specifically in Mario Sunshine.
Is it adaptive triggers, or is that's not it? Dude, you know what I'm thinking of is that PS3 game. I think it was called Lair, the dragon game, where you like the 6-axis, you move
fly your dragon around. Yeah,
it was horrible to control, but you could only play it on PS3.
Distinct. Yeah, I think like those distinct experiences stand out too when you develop for one platform. Because you use all that tech. Whereas now game consoles are pretty synonymous, like with PCs.
Yeah.
It's just a PC and you have a controller. It's kind of unique. So
yeah.
I guess closing this up, this has been a long topic. Sorry. We can talk about it.
Dude, I love talking about this. And we started like 10 minutes into our recording session.
True. Yeah, we're doing okay. So what do you think is like closing thought? Like what would be a way to fix what do you see as the path forward, I guess?
I think that our path forward is Nintendo's going to Nintendo. I think for a lot,
they're going to save us
a lot longer than the rest of the industry. And honestly, I'm a Nintendo fan, so it's hard you take it with a huge grain of salt, but I think that's like what's best for the industry is just because they're so innovative and they still have some people who I believe are like some of the best creators and developers in the world. But I think for the industry as a whole, one unified, if it's PC, like I'll bite the bullet and jump on board. But I think there needs to be the DVD player of video games. And I think that needs to happen sooner rather than later. And what game developers need maybe in the AAA space is one place to develop their games for one technology. And once we have that, we can kind of innovate on it like we did with DVD to Blu-ray and Blu-ray to,
HD DVD.
Yeah. Well, a Blu-ray won that battle. But anyway,
3D.
And that was Microsoft too, I think, HD DVD.
It was.
Maybe not. But anyway, I don't know, dude. I don't know that there's an answer, to be honest. Like, that was a bad answer because it doesn't solve much of the issue at all. But what do you think?
I think going back to Chris Plant's article on Polygon, one thing that he talks about is indie studios sort of kind of stepping in to fill this space because they're the ones who can operate at a sense of scale that is smaller. And right now, I think what we're seeing is a lot of the more interesting and, I don't know, I would say games that have a little more soul to them coming out of the indie space. Like there's just more there. That's
some of it hits. I agree, but I would also argue that like the indie space is full of a bunch of knockoff clones, just as much as AAA space is. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you've got so many Stardew Valley clones, and then Hollow Knight clones, and Metroidvania clones, and it's like it's just as guilty. But it's hard to make something unique and original, and those games are going to rise to the cream of the top. I do agree with you though on the indie space. And we were talking a little bit about this before, I think before we started recording, but like there are some games by some people it's like one-man units, and they don't need to approach investors. What they need is like 7 years at a job at Starbucks and like a supporting wife, like, and that's, I think those are some of the projects that are going to really revolutionize the gaming space and continue to revolutionize the gaming space in the next few years, because it seems like development's just kind of gotten out of control. I would also love to see the B game come back, like
the B tier game.
Yeah, like THQ back in the PS2 days and stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, we're not out here producing 90s on Metacritic that are going to change video games forever. But what we are doing is putting out a bunch of games that are memorable and unique, and they play well, and your character's not going to fall through a hole in the floor and just like, it
feels like
it's not going to lose.
It feels like we're already there. It feels like we're in an era of all just B games. Like there's
maybe,
a few standouts here, or maybe they're all so good that they all just feel like B games now. Like
that's true. It's kind of what I was saying earlier. So I don't know, man. Maybe
we don't have the answers.
Maybe we just need, divine intervention.
Yes, something needs to change. We'll punt and we'll come back to that maybe in a few months and see if anything's resolved itself. But it doesn't feel like it. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
True.
All right. On that depressing note, let's jump over to Game & Watch. All right, so let's take a look at what came out in this month. So for August and what's coming out next month. So this month's report card. Checking in, we had SteamWorld Heist 2. I got an 82. Black Myth Wukong got an 81. Tactical Breach Wizards came out on PC, 87. Concord,
Nice.
Concord, PC, PS5,
64. That's a tough one.
And it's gone now. MEO, the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club on Switch got 78.
Hey, what a guy.
Visions of Mana, 77. And Star Wars Outlaws, 76. So a week of a month of not strong releases.
Honestly, I'm going to be real. I thought a lot of those games would hit a little harder than they did. I had high hopes for Black Myth Wukong to like come out in like that 87 range, really make some waves. I think it did. I think it hit for a very, obviously it sold a lot. I think it hit for an audience for sure. But I think it's a shame. One of my least favorite things about new games coming out and reading reviews is when technical issues mire the review score. And I think that's what happened with Black Myth Wukong. Unfortunately,
yeah, it had some issues at launch that I think they've fixed.
Maybe some of them, and maybe some of them need a little more time, but that's a shame. However, first-time publisher, maybe they'll iron out those kinks, and hopefully this will give them a little dough to kind of float the next project, give them a better idea of like, hey, this is where we need to push the release date to, and we can work out some more of those bugs in the future.
I mean, it's a Soulsborne, like it's another Souls-like game that, super hard combat, like nasty, crazy looking bosses, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Seems like Justin and Matthew from Nintendo Watcher, they seem to like that. So
yeah, that's one of those games that is still on my radar, and if it drops down to like $20, I'll probably pick it up at some point. I want to give that one a shot.
You probably won't. You won't.
No, I think I will. I do not love Soulsborne games outside of the Souls series, but I think this is more like a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta, which I do actually love those character action games. It's just that Bayonetta makes me uncomfortable, and Devil May Cry is it's a very hit and miss series. So
yeah, Devil May Cry. Yeah, I have some fond memories of watching my brother play those, and just the action's so over the top, but it's so fun.
It's so fun.
It's a good game. I was hoping Visions of Mana would have scored a little bit better as well, because I like that. I like the art style. I like the music usually in those games, and I like that they're more simple RPGs. But it looks like it kind of just hit right in that, like, yeah, this is what you'd expect. It's nothing exponentially better. It's fine.
More Trials of Mana PS4 remake than Secret of Mana Super Nintendo,
right?
Like quintessential release,
exactly,
which is kind of sad.
So, anyways, decent month, but nothing really crazy to write home about. Although I am excited also about Tactical Breach Wizards. That game looks kind of fun, just kind of dumb.
I need to look into that. Obviously, I've heard about it, but I have not seen anything from it. I've just read some really good positive opinions of the game.
Yeah. All right, let's look at next month. So September, what we got coming out?
This is the month for me.
This is a good month.
I'm stoked on this one.
So yeah, Astrobot comes out. We're recording this on Wednesday, so September 6th for PS5.
So cool.
The Plucky Squire, PC, PS5, Switch, Xbox Series X, September 17th. Looks super fun. UFO 50, which I did not know what this game was. I know Mark said he was excited about it. I checked it out. Like, this is insane. It's literally 50 unique games, some like large in scale, some small in scale, all with like more like NES to maybe SNES like art style, closer to NES. And they look really good. They look really interesting.
Cool.
This is like right up your alley, I feel like, Landry.
Oh yeah. I mean, it sounds like it. NES, Super Nintendo. That's my era.
It's just like, yeah, it just looks, I don't know. They're going back to the principal game design, like
cool
side scroller kind of stuff. It looks great.
The old run and jump bit. That's my favorite.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
God of War Ragnarok comes out on PC on the 19th.
Nice.
Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series X comes out.
Already got my PlayStation subscription back up and running, and gonna check that one out, no question.
I think it's already here, right? Like, we got it early as PS Plus subscribers.
dude, I gotta jump on that.
I downloaded it today, so I don't know if that means
Cool.
like I have it, but I'm excited about that as well. I like the idea of just playing Quidditch, and I think they've nerfed the snitch to actually make it a somewhat playable game, so it's not just like you catch it, the game's over, you win.
I have some serious qualms with the way J.K. Rowling made that sport. It doesn't make any sense.
I think
the snitch is worth like way too many points
in the game.
Why are you even playing? Why are you even playing the game? Like, just sit around and watch.
Just have all your players try to find the snitch. That's it.
That's literally the only thing that matters. So.
I think that argument's only started coming up into like the main popular consensus in like the last year. But the more that I've thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, dude,
as a child, I was like, this sport rules.
The sport is cool. I've read those books so many times and watched that movie so many times, and I literally bring it up every time my wife's like, "Shut up, dude, shut up! I don't want to hear about it anymore."
Quidditch is dumb, makes no sense.
Like, even if J.K. Rowling doesn't play sports, like her editor should have caught this.
Well, and the fact that there's like a whole World Series championship around it, it's laughable. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For real.
All right. That comes out on the 23rd, or maybe now. Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. PS4, PS5, Switch,
Dude,
Xbox One, Series X.
That game is awesome.
I'm excited about this.
Incredible. I played the demo, and I'm super hype on the demo. The demo played so well, and that was a game on Wii that just... It was really mind blowing. It was so good, but it was just completely marred by controls. Like so many good games on the Wii were, and in fact, I'm willing to say that every game on the Wii was marred by terrible controls. I'm
a notorious Skyward Sword defender. I enjoyed that game on the Wii. With motion
makes me want to throw up, and I do actually judge you for that.
It was good, man. It was like the Twilight Princess Wii controls were absolute garbage. Okay, I will admit that. But Skyward Sword, they actually fixed it where you could move your sword around and it would trace the path. It was cool.
It just didn't work for me. I don't know. I here's what I think about the Wii, because I've been playing not a lot of it, but a good bit amount of it in the past month. I think that a lot of your experience on the Wii is where your couch is compared to your little
TV,
bar.
Your bar, yeah.
And Skyward Sword, I remember specifically, like nothing worked for me ever on anything. And I was playing it the other day and it worked really well, but my couch setup is like completely different than it was back in the day. So it's just, I think it's a very flawed
Sounds like
system.
a you problem. Sounds like you didn't
possible.
Really set it up correctly.
Maybe I didn't read the instruction manual, but who knows?
I'm just kidding. There was the Girahim battle I remember being very terrible. No matter
that
what.
battle sucks. That still sucks.
Annoyed me so much. And then last on here, but not least for sure, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom Switch on the 26th.
Well, I'll be there for that. This is just it. Every game I've been super interested in this month or this year comes out this month. So
yeah, this is a big month. You guys were chatting about all this stuff coming up. Like, oh man, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and get the Echoes of Wisdom right away. But then I saw Astro Bot, Plucky Squire, and Harry Potter. I was like, okay, I got some games coming out that I'm going to check out. So
I will probably play all of those games. Astro Bot, I definitely will play. Zelda, I definitely will play. But Epic Mickey, like especially since Sawyer's into Mickey Mouse, like I'm probably going to play that.
Well, and the fact that this demo is actually great. I want to check that out too. So, what'd you play it on PS5?
Dude, I played it on Switch and it ran smooth. Like it was really good.
Okay.
I am not 100% sure about this, but I would not be surprised if it was 60 frames per second. It felt like it and it looked like it. If not, whatever it was smooth and it didn't drop a single bit. It might have been 30. I'm not great with frames, but it was smooth and it was fast and responsive. Just really tight platforming.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about it for sure. I'll check the demo out. No doubt. Okay, so yeah, I think for me, I don't know. I can't even pick one of these games that I know I'm going to buy. They all look great, so we'll just talk about it next month and which one I actually picked up. All right, so now let's jump over to our Game of the Month Club. Yeah, so each month, Landry and I choose a game that everyone will play, and hopefully something that's widely available. And then we will play it and talk about it. And that month, basically goes by. And hopefully we had the time to do it. I feel like a month is a good time to try and fit that game in. and we're just giving it a play. See what you think. Taste test, if you will, and we'll go ahead and pick one at the very end of this next segment, so you can play along with us. But this month we're talking about Portal 2. Yeah, man. So when's the last time you played Portal?
I played Portal when it came out on the orange box.
Same.
And I do not know what year that was. What was that, 2009? I mean, it's been 15 years probably.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Let me see. When did the orange box come out? When did
Let me guess, 2011.
Orange box come out? 2007, brother. We're old.
Oh my gracious.
17 years ago. And so, yeah, I remember everyone talking about this, mainly because it also came with, Half-Life and Team Fortress. So it was a huge.
And Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 episode 1 and 2. It was huge.
Something like that.
Tons of stuff.
Big launch. And Portal 1 and Portal 2 just like blew me away. I think Portal 1 was just the only one on the first disc, and I think I got Portal 2 later on the 360.
Portal 2 is a solo release, like AAA budget.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to go back to this, because I remember playing Portal 2, but only in like co-op with a friend. So I don't think I even played the main story. I think I only ever just played the co-op story.
And I didn't get a chance to play any of the co-op missions, but are they completely different? Like it's not the same game. That's so
not the same game. You're playing as two little robots, just like moving through the tests,
dude.
And there's some really hard puzzles. But yeah, so let's start off with just our thoughts.
Well, I am not a huge puzzle video game fan. I especially hate falling block puzzle games. But even like Zelda, which is my favorite genre, I love Zelda for exploration and just like the high fantasy of it all. And typically dungeons and puzzles are like my least favorite. However, like there are some extremely satisfying 3D space puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. But I would say that Portal does like these 3D space puzzles better than any other game I've ever played. And it's an engaging gameplay mechanic. The whole like portals and like the... Man, I don't even know how to describe what you're doing. It's
environmental. Like
it's so environmental, and it's
you have to be aware. Like every time you walk into a new room, like I caught myself like just like scanning the entire room. Like I'm just like, yeah, all right, what am I looking at here? Like what do I got? What objects am I looking for that I got to move? Like you're literally like doing as much environmental research as you possibly can before you even start a puzzle in this game. I feel like
it's so good, and they're so good at level design where they're kind of like parsing out a mechanic and then expanding on that mechanic before introducing something else. And I don't know, as far as game design goes and puzzle design goes, this is always included in like your top 10 video game of all time. And I think mechanically and design wise, it's just pristine. It's really, right out of the gate, it just kind of blew me away. I haven't played a Portal game. I never played Portal 2. But I haven't played a Portal game, like I said, in like, I guess, it's been 15, 17 years. And it's
crazy.
It truly like kind of blew my mind all over again. Just wild how good it actually is.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I thought the puzzles were all very fun. There were a few like I definitely got stuck on where I was like, all right, I'm just not seeing this the way I'm supposed to. Solid pacing, to your comment about them introducing new mechanics and then building on top of them. I feel like there was never a time where a mechanic felt overdone. They moved you through those mechanics pretty quickly, and then the game was over. You're like, okay. Because like the first, I guess we can talk about this. This is spoilers for anybody that hasn't played it yet, but the first half of the game is like Portal 1, where you're just kind of doing the same environmental puzzles, and you got this new character named Wheatley, right? That's his name. He's like the British dumb, funny robot. Yeah. And GLaDOS you killed in the first game. And so this is picking up right after that, essentially. You wake up and Wheatley's breaking you out, essentially, and you're trying to just get out of this place. and he's helping you, and he's friendly and dumb, and he's way different than GLaDOS. But then a switch happens. You finally get back up, and you realize that Wheatley is like planned to take over as like the new computer system for the whole warehouse, or the place that you're stuck in. And then he takes over and tries to run the whole place, and is basically blowing it up and destroying it as you try to escape. And GLaDOS's computer system is then your assistant for the rest of the game. And I thought that was a fun switch. Like, I forgot about it, and I was like, oh dang, there's a lot more game to play here. So initially when that happened, I was like, this is kind of overstaying its welcome a little bit. Like, I'm doing a lot of puzzles here, and like, this is longer than I thought it was. But again, it moves you through quickly. There's enough like fun humor. There's good writing here, good voice acting. I think J.K. Simmons is in this. Like, it's great.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed my time.
For me, hits especially hard. I think the writing there is so funny, and it is just a really, really funny narration. It's weird. I don't know exactly how to call it. It's not really dialogue, but yeah, like monologuing at you and just kind of trolling you and making fun of you through the first half of the game. So funny.
Yeah, no, and she's just trash talking you the entire time. It's so good. J.K. Simmons is the voice in the second one. That's like the older side of the testing units. Nolan North is also in this as like the defective turrets and other stuff like that. The other voices you wouldn't know, but Ellen McLean is the voice of GLaDOS. GLaDOS, I guess. OS. So any lows for you? Any like meh?
Dude, it's hard for me to find a low. I also have not finished the game, so did I
spoil it for you?
No.
Okay.
No, you're good. The one thing that I appreciate about Portal more than Portal 2, and this is not a criticism because they're different games and they're doing different things, is Portal's such a tight experience. Like, it is literally from my memory, it was like 3 or 4 hours. I think I beat it in 2 sessions.
Yeah.
And that brevity, and me only playing it once and still remembering things about it 17 years later, that was really impactful. Portal 2 is a little different, and I feel like it wasn't as suited for long play sessions for me. I wanted to pop in and do a chapter maybe at a time and then put it down, or a couple of rooms at a time and then kind of put it down. And I think, again, it's because that novelty of just seeing Portal for the first time, having my mind completely blown by that physic mechanic, that sheen was lost, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I would still say this is a premium gaming experience that's worth playing.
Yeah, to think about the technological jump that had to happen for them to be able to make these portals work is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They were like, wait a minute, we have this 3D space. We can create 2 like dynamic doors, essentially, that the player can go through, that will then push them out in the same 3D space on the other side. And if they look at the 3D, like the 2 portals, like it will be like a recreation of that same 3D space over and over and over again. Like, you can do like the infinite portal like thing where like you can look into it and you can just see yourself for like forever.
So cool.
I was like, dang, that is impressive. Like, it's really, really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, Portal 1 is the game that I would put on a list for like top 100 games. But I understand why people put Portal 2 on it. I think there is like a bigger, better aspect to it. However, there's just, there's some bias sometimes in certain things. And then sometimes I don't think it is bias. Like, it is kind of like when you see something for the first time, you can't really take that away. And Portal 1 just had like this monumental effect on me, like where I was like, oh, this might be one of the coolest things I've seen in the video game space in quite some time.
Yeah, I think if I were recommending a Portal game to someone who had never played it today, I'd be like, yeah, check out Portal 2 because it has multiplayer and it has like, there's a little more there you can check out. But I do think the eerie, like, you're unearthing like what's even happening in the factory, and you're realizing that like this GLaDOS system is like trying to kill you and like is not not good, and you start finding these little like hidden notes in like some of the walls that have opened up, and it's like help me, and like there's something fun in that in the first one, whereas this one it's just more of like a big adventure. I think to your point, I think the only negative I had was that it just overstayed its welcome a little bit, but all in all I had a great time. And if I had to score this, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
Nice. I'm leaning a little higher than that personally. But again, haven't quite finished it yet, but I'd probably be in the 9 out of 10 range.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good game that anybody should probably play. Oh, and when Joe and I were talking about this, sorry, I mentioned that I would bring up his comments. 1 second. He said that he was about halfway through chapter 3 when I talked to him about it, and he said, forgot how much fun these puzzles were. And he when I talked to him in person, he said it's a lot longer than he thought it was as well. He's like, I forgot how long this game is.
Yeah. What's so funny, because it's like
not that
way
long.
shorter than most games, I think How Long to Beat has it at 8.5 hours.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but then I think if you look at How Long to Beat, let's look at how long the first one takes.
Probably like 3.5.
3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So a big difference. Yeah. So if you go from Portal 1 and that's like what's in your mind, you're like, oh, I remember this being like pretty short and digestible. And it's like, 8 hours. That's double the length. That's a lot of puzzles.
There's a lot of puzzles.
But good stuff nonetheless. Really enjoyed my time with it. So next month's game for September, Landry and I are going to tentatively accept.
Let's do Astrobot, man. Let's just pull the trigger on it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
We're going to choose Astrobot because we're both really excited about that game. We're going to try and link our PS5 so we can do like the share play thing where.
And if it doesn't work out, man, I'm going to stop being such a coward. I'm going to sell some games and make it work. Make it work for this month.
Okay, so we're just saying Astrobot. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Cool.
And I cannot wait to see if that is the game I've been dreaming of, where it's like half Star Fox, half platformer, or if it's more of like we'll give you like a Star Fox level here and there, maybe 3 or 4, and most of it is platforming.
I'm just surprised we haven't gotten reviews yet.
It drops tomorrow. Yes?
Reviews?
No.
It drops on the 6th, so Friday.
Oh, I keep thinking tomorrow's Friday.
But I remember all the previews like really good, or like really good.
Yeah.
So I have high hopes. I have confidence that it'll be very good. So I'm excited about it. All right, let's jump over to our last segment. Name that game music. I forgot to bring over our criteria from last time. I always forget to do this. I need to add it to our outline. 1 second.
I love the criteria.
You gotta have the criteria. Well, this is just to help us with hints.
Yeah, true. I like it because I forget because I'm an idiot.
I do too. Where? Did I miss the hints?
Oh no.
Oh wait, I did. I picked the wrong outline. I clicked on March. Come on, Jake. That laugh. Genre, console, and first initials. What we're doing. Okay.
Dude, I gotta remember what I chose to.
Do you want to? Do you want to go first or me?
Nah, dude, you go first this time.
All right, I'll go first this time. So this is Secret Files number 13. This is what Landry named this. I'm going to bring the sound up a little bit, and here we go. 3, 2, 1. Groovy.
So groovy. Oh man.
You like my bops?
Dude, yes.
All right, I have no idea. I have no idea what that is.
Are you serious, you freaking noob?
Yeah. Give me the genre.
It's a fighter.
Okay, it's a fighter. Okay. Still don't know. Give me the console.
Arcade.
Oh, it's an arcade. Okay. So I'm thinking like Thinking like Street Fighter probably, but I don't know. Go ahead and give me the first initial.
S.
Okay, so it's definitely Street Fighter, but which one? There's like a million Street Fighters. I'm gonna go ahead and say Street Fighter 2, and this is the character like select screen, maybe.
Dude, nailed it. Yeah, you got it. You got there.
I'm so glad you picked the character select screen because
of course, man, because that music is so freaking iconic. You need to add it to your repertoire of game bops. But also, it just surprises me you didn't come across that game pretty regularly as a child.
I never played fighting games. I really just did not enjoy them at all.
I hated them, but somehow I had that one growing up. I had that and Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct, and I was not good at any of them. But obviously, because I grew up with those three, I played all of them quite a bit.
That was my thing. I never knew what I was doing. I couldn't make the moves happen the way I wanted them to, because we had like Marvel vs. Capcom. We had like a few of those, and like they were great.
It's fun. Yeah,
but I just sucked at them, and I didn't play them very much.
So. Remember going to the library and like printing off moves for Mortal Kombat, those fatalities were hard to pull off.
That was my role as the younger brother. Like when my brother was playing games, I would print off either the guides or like the moves or cheat codes for things, and I would tell him like as he was playing, I was like, okay, you need to do this next. It was awesome.
That is awesome.
Such good memories. All right, Landry, here's your first one. Are you ready?
All right, yeah, I'm ready, man.
I'll bring the volume up. Here we go. You should know this one.
Donkey Kong Country 64. Dude, what version of this song is it? Those drums are hitting so hard. This is the title screen. But wow, dude, that is not the version that comes out of the 64. Though I can tell you that. Like the drums were just like, that was awesome.
It was So you're right. DK64. It is like the opening scene, or it is DK's like treehouse, like where you first start out at, basically. So yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure like when you're on the start screen, like when you just open up the game, you have the DK rap, but then when you're on the title screen, it's there too.
I love that theme.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's very much Rare, like Grant Kirkhope had his hands on that one. Like they all sound kind of similar, but
dude, what is that? Is that like a xylophone? That
I think so.
Is that what that is?
I think so. Dude, yeah.
Freaking, they're all over that in the 64 era. Like Banjo Kazooie had a lot of.
They love that MIDI file.
Yeah, incredible.
But a good one nonetheless. Well done. 20 points for Landry.
Oh yeah,
Bingo
bongo.
Bingo, bango, bongo. All right. Secret file number 14. Here we go.
Let's go.
Oh, this is Zelda for sure. This is the ranch. This is Ocarina of Time. This is Lon Lon Ranch. Or oh wait, no, hold on. Wait, let me back up here for a second.
Back it up.
It's either Kakariko Village or it's the ranch.
What's your final answer?
I feel like it's the ranch.
You know what? It is Kakariko Village, but now that you say that, it might be the ranch as well. It might be both of them.
Hold on.
It's definitely Kakariko Village.
Lon Lon
I can't
Ranch.
remember what Lon Lon Ranch's music is.
Lon Lon Ranch theme. I'm playing it right now on YouTube. Oh crap. Oh no, I was wrong.
Yeah. Okay. It's Kakariko Village. That was the file I pulled. Dang it!
I got it wrong.
Oh man! And I
get half points for getting the game right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely, dude. We'll give you. What do we give you? A 10 or a 15 there?
10.
All right.
I only got the game right. Damn it.
So you're at 15 total for the day.
Yeah. Not doing great here, Landry. Not doing great.
Sorry about that Street Fighter one, man. That's why I was like, dude, I need an Excel spreadsheet of every game you have ever played. Stat.
Nah. It's fun. It's fun to branch out a little bit. I knew my guess was Street Fighter. Like after
you
the
got there,
one.
dude. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well done.
Okay. This one, we'll see. I feel like you'll get it, but I don't know.
This is Kirby, I think. All right. So right at the end of that, I think it might be Starfy actually. But then I was but it definitely has a Kirby vibe to it. Man, your face is just not giving much away. No, I'm gonna oh, man, I'm gonna guess Starfy.
Nope.
No, it's Kirby.
No.
Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Hold on. Let's go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna give myself, so I'm at 10 if I just like pulled it out of my ass right now.
Hey, you can start taking hints if you want to.
Hint, please. Number 1, sir.
RPG.
Oh my gosh. That does not sound like RPG music. And yet
it doesn't.
It's so familiar. Okay, so this,
I know you've heard it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Now I'm thinking it's like we're in like a game.
We're in like a game.
It might even be my favorite RPG of all time. Okay, what's the second hint again?
Second one would be console, but that would bring you down to, I think, 0 points.
Blast. Okay, hold on. So,
because you're at 10 right now.
Can I hear it one more time?
Yeah.
It's so funny. Dude, it doesn't sound like the Chocobo theme from Final Fantasy, but I'm kind of like leaning towards like a Final Fantasy like goofball moment. I'm gonna say it does sound like Super Nintendo-y. It doesn't really sound PlayStation-y. God dang it. Oh man. This is so tough. I'm gonna go Final Fantasy 6.
You got 5 points. That's all you have left on the board. You got one more guess.
All right, fine. Just go Final Fantasy 9.
No.
What is it?
It is Super Mario RPG.
Oh my god, I'm an idiot. What is wrong with me?
It's the victory music when you win a battle.
I'm born in a barn. Now that makes sense. Okay, dude, my brain was not going to Super Mario RPG no matter what. I was like fully on like
you started so confident.
Japanese anime,
like Kirby for sure. You started so confident. It was Nintendo. It was like a Nintendo.
Yeah,
theme.
It definitely had that like poppy,
But I'm impressed that you knew that it was an SNES title. Like you could tell. You're like, I know this is SNES.
Yeah.
That was impressive. And yeah, sorry, man.
Dude, it's okay. I've played Super Mario RPG in the past 5 years. I don't like that game very much.
I love it.
It doesn't hit for me. I didn't play it as a small child. I think I played it for the first time. It was one of the first games.
As a small child.
It's one of the first games I ever stole, like off the internet, like got a ROM for.
Shh, dude, you don't say that on the podcast. Okay?
I was 13. Okay, if they're gonna come after me, then
that's awesome. Yeah, we rented this one from Blockbuster. I think I told you this story on a podcast before, but I remember just loving that music and being so blown away that like Mario was beating up on like alligators and stuff. I was like, what even is this game?
Yeah, why is he with a marshmallow?
Yeah, who's this wooden doll dude hanging out with him? Why Bowser? You can play as Bowser's your friend? I was like, this is amazing.
That is cool. That is cool. I never understood the Geno love, but everything else is cool.
Dang, dude, we did not fare well this week for Name That Game music.
It's true. We didn't. But in one single guess, I did better than you.
Okay. All right. You shut your mouth. I am too nervous to get it wrong, so I'm going to go for my hints first. I'm like, okay, give me this. Because
that's nice. Well, you know what you should do next time is just get all the hints and still fail like I did. That was great.
Well, I didn't give all the hints. You had a lot of guesses.
That's true.
You had 3 guesses.
Zero out. That's true.
Only one hit.
I had 4 because I guess Kirby, Starfy, Final Fantasy 6, and Final Fantasy 9. I think is what I threw out as desperation.
I don't know. And I gave you the genre hint.
Yeah. So I was at like -10. I just
-5 actually. So technically we tied. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, that was fun, man. I love that segment. That's such a
is fun.
Such a stupid, silly game. We need to try and like, I think for the finale, get in like multiple contestants and see if.
Dude, I'd love that. That'd be fun.
Make everyone submit their answers like privately.
Yeah,
that'd be good. All right. Well, unfortunately, all that is the end of our podcast. Listeners, what do you think of the games industry right now? We left on a pretty depressing note, so maybe send some positivity our way.
It's in shambles.
Yeah, it's on fire, or it's not. Let us know what you think. Landry, thank you so much, as always, for being an excellent co-host. We don't have anything to plug in terms of social media anymore, I guess. Is there anything you are excited about that you want to tell people about that's coming up, or anything you're working on?
Life is great.
Life
man.
is great.
No, you know what? I don't have anything going on right now as far as like creative stuff in the works, but
that's okay.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it, life and everything. So it's cool.
A little restful time for us. This is good. Yeah, I got nothing to plug except for this podcast. So thanks for listening. And if you want to, make sure to send emails again to BitCast@BitBloggist.com. Until next time, this has been BitCast. Thanks for tuning in to talk about some stuff.
Wait for my mark.